Here's your end. Be happy.
Think Tony Soprano respected the code? Think again. Here's how he ratted out a maid guy and got away with it.
You've got Michele Ficlamana, released just this week.
There is no better case study in the Sopranos' demolition of the mafia mythos than the rise and rapid disposal of Ficlamana.
Reason I wanted to see you, Junior. Tony, too.
His return from prison should have been triumphant, another man of honor rejoining the ranks. Instead, it became a masterclass in the selective morality of a world where the code is less a rule book than a decorative prop, dusted off only when it serves someone's interests. The irony is delicious. The most sacred law of La Cosa Nostra, the one supposedly etched into stone tablets and carried down from Mount Omerta, is this: you do not rat on a made man. Ever. It's the highest crime, punishable by the highest penalty.
Flat screen TVs, 50-inch plasma Philipses. Guys coming down from Montreal, but...
And yet, when Feach became inconvenient, that cardinal rule evaporated faster than a cannoli at a wake. Tony didn't just remove him, he handed him back to the state, essentially ratting him out. The hypocrisy couldn't be clearer if it were spray-painted on the Bada Bing's front door. And here lies the point that endlessly eludes the apologists. It isn't that Feach was a saint, or that his behavior was tolerable.
I said, as long as you don't step on anybody's toes.
In my day.
And that's...
He was insubordinate, disrespectful, arrogant, and prone to making enemies out of allies. He pilfered cars from a useful doctor, insulted Tony's authority, and couldn't stop himself from flexing the power he hadn't actually earned in years. He was a mutiny waiting to happen. But if the mob truly lives and dies by its code, then the code should have dictated his fate. Instead, pragmatism prevailed. And pragmatism, in this world, always trumps honor. Of course, some will argue that sending Feach back to prison was merciful compared to whacking him outright. Perhaps. But that doesn't change the core contradiction. If the mafia truly operates under its so-called rules, then Tony's maneuver, ratting out one of his own, was indefensible. The brilliance of the show lies in forcing us to confront this duplicity head-on. It takes the romanticized image of the mob as a fraternity of principled outlaws and reveals what it really is: a cesspool of selfish sociopaths who invoke the code only when it suits them, discarding it when it doesn't. Feach's own flaws made him an easy target. He lacked tact, humility, and the foresight to recognize that demanding turf and favor from Tony immediately after release was a fast track back to obscurity. He created problems without creating value.
Here's your end. Be happy.
He wasn't kicking up properly. He antagonized Polly, and he pushed boundaries with no awareness of the balance of power. In short, he was obnoxious. And in Tony's world, being obnoxious is more dangerous than being treacherous.
Nip it in the bud.
Feach.
Tony's solution, setting up Feach with his parole officer, was clinical, even elegant. Why risk another Richie April fiasco, with all the drama and collateral damage that comes with open conflict, when you can quietly send the problem back to prison? Nip it in the bud, Tony himself said, and for once, he was right. It's a surgical strike disguised as respect. Better to let Feach live out his days behind bars than force another messy bloodbath.
Isn't there something in your parole about hanging out with degenerates like this?
And yet, calling this strategy anything but a betrayal of the supposed rules is laughable. The defenders twist themselves into knots, insisting Tony didn't rat, he merely used an available tool. The parole officer, after all, was already on his payroll, just another corrupt cog in his machine. How convenient. The mental gymnastics required to defend this distinction would impress an Olympic judge. Whether the dime dropped lands through an FBI hotline or through a crooked official, the result is the same. One of their own is handed over to law enforcement.
Because once you enter this family, there's no getting out.
The hypocrisy is not an incidental detail, it's the thematic core of the show. Watching The Sopranos is watching hypocrisy bloom like mold across every character, staining their every decision. It begins with the honorable men of Tony's crew, but it doesn't end there. Over time, that rot seeps into the next generation.
Don't you think it's totally out there? I mean, my Aspen trip.
The Soprano children absorb the entitlement, the shortcuts, the carefully curated moral flexibility. Rewatch the series as an adult, and the picture becomes clearer. The golden era of the mob, the supposed time of men of honor, was always a fairy tale. What remains is hollow, corrupt, and laughably self-justifying. Feech's final bus ride back to prison encapsulates this perfectly. The reinforced window separates him from the city he once thought he controlled, while his mind likely spins with bitter calculations. It's one of the most poignant images in the show, a reminder that in this world, loyalty is a lie, and honor is a slogan used by those who already have the upper hand.
The shit that happens? Like we're puss. Stand up one day, FBI rat fuck the next.
There are those who still insist Tony's move wasn't ratting, because true ratting, they argue, involves testifying to save yourself, not using the state as a blunt instrument against someone else. This is the kind of semantic hair-splitting that would make a Jesuit blush. Call it whatever you like, it's still hypocrisy. The mobsters use the police when it helps them, condemn others for doing the same, and carry on congratulating themselves for being men of honor. It's theater, and they're the only ones who seem to believe the script.
Used to be a guy got pinched, he took his prison job no matter what. Everybody upheld the code of silence.
The larger point is this: all gangsters rat eventually. The no snitching code exists to protect the bosses, not the soldiers. It's propaganda, designed to keep the foot soldiers loyal while their leaders exploit every loophole. Under RICO, of course, Omerta collapses like wet cardboard. Faced with double-digit sentences and a mountain of digital evidence, the bravest men of honor crumble into informants faster than you can say witness protection. Before RICO, the code might have been more functional, but even then it was enforced selectively. In Canada, without RICO, Omerta still holds more weight, but that only proves the point. The code is situational. It works until it doesn't.
Feech was here.
He came to pay his respects.
Feech Lamana's downfall is not simply the story of one loud, insufferable gangster being removed from the chessboard. It is a parable of the mob itself. The rules are hollow, the code is a sham, and honor is a costume worn only when convenient. Tony's betrayal of Feech wasn't an aberration. It was the system working exactly as designed.
To kick upstairs to Tony Soprano will be an honor.
That is why The Sopranos doesn't glorify the mafia. It exposes it. It dismantles the mythology with surgical precision, showing us not noble criminals bound by an unbreakable code, but petty, self-serving liars who invoke honor only when it benefits them. Feech thought he was playing in a world where the rules mattered. In reality, he was in Tony Soprano's world, where the only code that counts is survival.
His family comes before everything else.
And in Tony's world, hypocrisy isn't a flaw. It's the foundation. No code, no honor, just analysis. Subscribe.